All right, y'all remember back in the day they said the mark of the beast was the barcode and the 66 and all those things, and the RFID chip is a 666, and Paul likened salvation and such to a race, and we see the tracking from seed to cell in China going on as their market and different things have grown corrupt, and our market and foods and such have become corrupt as well, and people are lying about what they're using. You may go to a Chinese restaurant that uses some funny stringy meat or whatever that's probably dog or cat. Okay, it may be a little rough to swallow at first, but you'll get over it. Meow. It's you hurting later because you just realized what you ate. But either way, so knowing that China, and part of the woman clothed in the sun is the feminine spirit inside man, and it's covered by the masculine spirit, and this masculine spirit is changing and going from one to another and whatever else. Okay, so as all this stuff is overlaid on our earth, and China is this woman clothed in the sun, and she has Babylon at her forehead, and everything, half the shit we consume comes from China, it seems, and all these types of things. So so since China is doing seed to cell, and we've seen some things pass as far as China monitoring their citizens over here and whatever else, right? So putting all these things kind of together, China is implementing a system over here in a way so they can do their seed to sell to the consumer in America, okay? And this is where we have this happening in the Most High as far as cannabis in our world in America, and then they're doing it over there with food and those types of things. Like you can see where the farm that your chicken grew up in, and you can see the chicken while it's alive or whatever kind of thing they're showing. But either way, so basically you know where shit comes from, you know what's making this, you'll know what made you sick, or you can track back things and whatever. It's about getting, we don't know where we came from in a way now. We're going to know where we came from in the future as the machine is going to keep track of our downloads in a way, and we're a machine that downloads, and this is where we're kind of coming into a new age of consciousness and realizing what we are and where we need to go and where we can go, but we need the right lights, the right begotten sons and structures or whatever that control things, that will keep things in a balance the way it has been. So as America is on this mountain, and this mountain's grown corrupt, and it's about to pop in a matter of speaking, that magma is there, and it's shaking, and it's getting red, and they're getting pissed, and the hands off is coming, and they're setting torches to the Teslas and whatever else, right? That mountain's getting on fire, and so as these things are happening, there's different lights and candlesticks that are involved in this volcano, this mountain, but you got to go over to this mountain over here, and since you got to walk through it, and the wall's already been established or whatever way back then, you got to walk into the valley and up the mountain again, or you got to get the eagles back and fly over, or you got to get on the back of the ox and have it get you through, or you got to tame the lion, whatever kind of thing, okay, to get your ride a little faster. You might need to become that He-Man to get that battle cat underneath you to get a little more power going. And since Jesus comes as a lion, And you're the He-Man, that Jesus, that He's us. Okay, that's that light coming inside you, that truth of this world. Like, hey, all right. So, so the seed to sell, the tracking, going from one time to another time. That's where we would see China coming in and doing this kind of thing, and then the so-called tariffs here, and the BRICS here, and the trade wars. This would be setting up those kinds of structures to leave one and to begin another, or for the states to start separating from the United States, where we see California or Texas or whoever with their ports of entry take control in some way, shape, or form. That I've told you in the past, that'd be tied to the border war and a little flip-flop. But also China can be coming in through Mexico, and we see the fight for the Panama Canal for the magma and the pandemic. That's be kind of those things. And we've seen the Trojan horse, and we're told about the Chinese nationalists, and and the cartels that are inside our nation in different ways, shapes, and forms, whether Russian, Armenian, whatever. Okay, so we also have Florida and Cuba and those types of things as far as a border war. It's not necessarily a land border, but so the fallopian tubes, the semen, those types of things will be playing out for the birth and the serpent year, and the impregnation of the man-child as far as within the people, as these things, as the tribulation and whatever comes through. And this is where you've been at a peak here, and you follow Trump, you love him, and then you follow him through the hard times, and you hate him, and then you follow him through the, but it's getting them to love you again or whatever. That's where the few would follow, and make it up the mountain and those types of things. So it may not even be the dawn's lightness. And this is where that barren womb is kind of set up for the promised woman, and we see the barren over here, and that height of 6'7", I think, but that ties to a 76 on the flip side, and a 42, and we're in that 24 zone and the 42 zone of the false prophet, and the 24 on 9/11 coming up, and those types of things. But so if you shut down one system over here, and then you implement it with the Bitcoin blockchain system over here, seed to sell tracking kind of thing, then that's going to work in it from an internal spectrum, because these people are going to be ordering it off that new system, and then they're going to be selling it over here, and it's going to go to the consumer at that point. And then once stuff eventually would work in, you could see how this would filter in through America and whatever, because America at some point, or the parallel economy, would at some point have to start working in this kind of a system. And this is where so-called medical versus recreational and those types of things, the parallel economies, the rape creation versus the medical system coming in. But these two, that would be the left and the right, when you may have to leave the projection per se to get a balance of both, maybe, okay, and become a believer for a little bit, and then when everything's all fucking when all the nuttiness is gone, then you can come back. All right. But we just have to play these things by ear kind of thing as they come along, and just keep the options open if these things come possible in the future. Okay. So, but also we know that America is going into a time of these changes or whatever, but we got to go through some dark times first till we can see the light. But this is also where you just have to know that, do you want to go through those certain types of dark times, per se, that we can see kind of unfolding as the trade wars and these things go on, but and also, like, how much do you want to rely on this so-called system over here when this kind of other system is being shown and they're telling you to kind of go over there without telling you and whatever else. So that's where the Lord is killed in Sodom and the Lord's within y'all, so that's where y'all are killed in Sodom, and it's all your kind of own choice or whatever, because you can't find any righteous in anything. You can't find any good in anything. Everything is bad, and all these types of things. So you've been taught what was good, and now you're being shown everything is bad that you've been taught was good and bad, and they're just feeding the flame within you. But the knowing where we came from and the AI and all these things, this be kind of like that final spectrum on that test where we merge all the man with all the consciousness and whatever else would be in that final phase for the years of Pluto and Neptune, the next 15-20 years and such, taking us, pushing us into a new time frame, and we can see these things and we're told these things or whatever. Not we can see them, but we're told these things in the past, and we see these things happening now, presently. So it's about understanding kind of what's going on, and to understand where we're going without the so-called fear that they keep trying to. If they can get you to fear, then they can save you. All right, so that's where you're going and seeking your salvation and whatever else. But either way, so China and the panda, the pandemic, the Trojan horse, the vial, the lead on the lead in the food or lead in the toys or whatever, right? So all these things are going to be playing a role as far as the corruption that's shown that needs to be cleaned up and whatever else. But either way, we'll end it here, folks.